individual or
like individual or as a band? I've got an answer for this actually, because we just started. Nick and I just joined Stormy and Teacup about 3 weeks ago, and he's my roommate. Or actually, we live in a triplex thing together, and we were jamming together. And I'm like, man, this is fun. We should start a band. And talked to my friend Alberto. Come on, let's you play the drums and we'll jam and have fun. He's like, you know what? Jed just dropped out of the band. I'm supposed to play at Aki Con. You guys want to come? So we've had 3 weeks. We put together a set, and we're here. And we actually rock harder than when Jed was. So it's awesome. We do. We got a Lady Gaga cover.
Yeah. The four of us here, we each play a multitude of instruments and in multitudes of orchestras and bands and whatever. And when Katie started the anime orchestra, we all just kind of came together to form, because it's two of our loves, music and anime, so that's how we got together. The four of us travel around and play.
I started playing snare drum in middle school. And then in high school I started playing drums. That's where I met Johnny, at church. And then he wanted to make a band. And there you go. After Power Rangers, I got bored, and so I bought a guitar around 97 or somewhere in there, and started teaching myself to play. And it went from there.
About 15 years ago, Pink Floyd and a band called Vertical Salt.
I used to play soccer, and I broke my ankle, and in which my dad plays guitar, and I couldn't play soccer anymore, so I just started picking up the guitar when I was about like 15, and I've been playing ever since.
Well, my brother Isaac and I, we've been playing for a while for church and stuff. I play the bass and Isaac plays the drums. Then we also met Christabel through some music ministry stuff, and we met Carlos through we went to watch a Bleach movie and he was there, and we were like, let's start a band. Anyways, and then later on we met Roy also. So it's just, we all love playing music, and at the same time we're really big nerds. So it worked out.
Well, I mean, going back to kind of my origins to music. I was a band geek in middle school. Played the clarinet for about 10, 12 years. Got interested back into music recently. So got a guitar, joined these guys here, and it's been fun ever since.
I've been playing guitar for about 22 years in earnest. 22 years, yeah. 22 years. I was in a band in college. This was fun.
Kurt Cobain's still alive?
Yes, Kurt Cobain's still alive, and he actually performed at campus Nirvana. Yeah, that was awesome. It was a surprise. Anyway, then I didn't do very much after college. So I didn't do it's fun to be in a band.
I started to play when I was 12. I'm 22 now. But yeah, so let me see. That's a long time now. So the origins, like my brother said, we were playing a long time, and having had that experience together, we kind of just thought, since we were together, once we had like little holes being filled, like singer, guitarist, another guitarist.
That's how we make a band.
I know.
When people love each other.
loving, yes. All right.
There you go. Now that Isaac has filled you in on how to make band members.
You know, it's a very difficult process.
So I started, I originally did not sing because not a lot of people thought that my voice was really suitable for anything. And I wrote the song. I'm originally a composer. I wrote the song and that's how I met Josh and Isaac. I wrote the song for a Christian CD that they were producing. And the singer could not sing because it was too low for a girl and it was too high for a guy. So I ended up singing it, and that's how I met them, and we just started doing music separately, and we met Carlos by chance. He took a ride with us, and we popped our trunk and was like, oh, it's a guitar. Do you play guitar? I'm like, sweet, we need a guitar player. Nice. And so that's how we first started, and then we added Roy to the mix. So that's sort of how our band started and how we've evolved. I know, but in a roundabout way. Making baby music, right? Okay, I'm passing on the mic now.
I took piano when I was like 7, and then not much came of that. And then I got into like grunge music in the early 90s as a very, actually, I mean, probably one of the few kids who's probably like below the age of 10 listening to that kind of thing. And I got the bug in my head that I was going to learn guitar myself, and I did. And I started a crappy garage band with other kids in the apartment complex, and it was horrible. And then I moved on to junior high, and kids are going to different schools and so on. I'm like, well, I still want to do music, and electronica started to get some traction in the U.S. So I'm like, I'm digging this. I'm like this Prodigy and this Chemical Brothers. So I bought my first sequencer, and I bought a 4-track and synth, and was doing that for a while, and I upgraded and gradually worked my way up, and then I started to hear some of the first nerdcore artists ever, like MC Frontalot and MC Chris and MC Hawking, and I'm like, I've always, and I always liked hip-hop, but I didn't really know where I would fit in because I grew up in the suburbs, and I watched anime and read, technology blogs, and was like, how do I can't rap about this, right? And it's like, oh, no, you can, it's totally cool. So, 100% acceptable as long as you're willing to play and make conventions and things like that. So I'm like, okay. I know. Well, I know. I totally wasn't pressed for still doing that on the side for an animation news website. I'm still doing that. And I figured I'd just do like a record of nerdcore, and then it turned out to be one of my best-selling things. So I'm like, well, let's keep doing this, and then I'd be like, maybe I'm done. It's like, oh, now there's a couple of documentaries being done, and just kept building, and then I met Rye, and I think I'll let you take it from there.
So I've been doing music since I was around 3. My grandmother's like, I like music. I want my children to do music because I'm interested in singing. I don't actually want to sing. I just want them to sing. So me and my cousin were enrolled in like traditional Japanese like folk music. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, that's it. Very other few people do. But so I had about 10 years of vocal training going along, and then I was like, oh, pop music. I like it, but I might like electronic more. Too bad I don't know anyone who does electronic stuff. And then a few years later, when I moved to the U.S., I moved into an area with like a very large otaku area, and I'm like, oh, I'm an otaku, this is fun, I have friends now. And then we went to party, and we're like, oh yeah, Xbox, oh yeah, I'm playing, oh wait, everyone else is drunk, what happened? Where did I was playing Xbox, and then Carl's like, I'm not drunk, and I'm like, I'm not drunk either, and Carl's like, I did stuff on computer, oh, I make music, and I'm like, oh, I sing, and you're like, oh really, can you sing this? Clicky, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally sing this. And so we're there 2 hours later, everyone else is like, oh, sleeping, and we're like making things. I'm writing things right next to Carl, and Carl's like, wait, fix that. And then in the morning we're like, oh wait, what we do? Oh, we made beautiful music. Maybe we should do this not at a party where everyone else is drunk but us.
And then 3 years later we finally finished the record.
3 years later, finished album. Yeah. Finished other people's albums, showing on other people's album a lot, and then finished ours.
Yeah, I will say one thing. The 3-year time period was great for getting attention.
And then the month before last Aki Con.